the Hindenberg. I was a young springbuck, ready for adventure. My passions took me to the sky. I wanted to be a pilot, but the future was there, and a new opportunity was presented before me. No longer would I be soaring the skies in an aeroplane, but floating, nestled within the belly of a gaseous beast, a zeppelin, the Hindenberg. As cabin boy, I, Werner Franz, was the youngest of the crew and of the 35 elite passengers. Any fear I may have espoused had been quelled by our brave and noble Captain Max Pruss, who had single-handedly steered this vessel safely 10 times before in the land of its birth, Germany. Our journey across the icy Atlantic went off without a hitch, leaving the cliffs of Frankfurt behind and touching the American skies in a mere 3 days, arriving at its mooring point around 1900 hours, local Amerikanische time, at an altitude of 650 feet, 200 meters, above Lakehurst Naval Air Station. The great, beautiful thing slid into position. Its bulbous mass was ready to be reached.
Steady as she goes, Ludwig. We're approaching the airfield. Please slow it down to 50 knots.
Captain, I think they thought we are coming. The little people down there, because we are so high up, are just standing and reading and stuff.
Very well, Ludwig. Then why don't you just flip it through to try to make it around?
At 7:09, this airship made a sharp, full-speed left turn to the west around the landing field because the ground crew was not ready. At 7:11, the airship turned back towards the landing field and valved gas. All engines idled ahead, and the airship began to slow. At 7:14, at altitude 394 feet, 120 meters, Captain Pruss ordered all engines full astern to try to break the mighty Luftschiff's velocity.
Yeah, this is Captain Pruss. I order all engines full astern to try to break the airship.
At 7:17, the wind shifted direction to southwest, and Captain Pruss was forced to make a second sweeping sharp turn, this time toward starboard.
Yeah, Ludwig, these turbulent winds are totally harshing my mellow. Let us make a second sweeping sharp turn, this time to starboard, maybe?
Roger that, Captain. A second sweeping turn this time towards starboard.
Captain, a word with you, please. Captain, our bridge game was rudely interrupted when our cards slid forward off the table, as well as my freshly poured dry martini. Perhaps this blimp of yours is over-bloated in some sort. Quite right. I say, old man, further tipping will not be tolerated. I believe we paid full price for a level trip. At 7:19, the airship made the second sharp turn, and in 3 drops, valved over 1,200 kilograms of Wasser ballast in successive drops, because the airship was stern heavy. 6 men were sent to the bow to trim the airship. These methods worked, and the airship was on an even keel as it stopped. Oh yes, that's better. Much better. Quite. Yeah, that's the way to operate a bully airship, eh? What? These German chaps really do know their onions. I'm quite chuffed. 7:21. At altitude 295 feet, 90 meters, the mooring lines were dropped from the bow, the starboard line being dropped first. At 7:25, a few onlookers, witnesses, saw the fabric ahead of the upper fin flutter, as if gas were leaking. Hey, look at that. Is that gas coming out there? At 7:25 p.m. local time, the Hindenburg caught fire and quickly became engulfed in flames. All 5 camera-toting crowd-oriented spectators failed to gather motion picture footage of where the fire was first visible. The resulting blast of the initial and controversial ignition caused a crack behind the passenger deck, and the rear of the structure imploded! I am on fire! Criminal! I certainly am on fire! Yes, I quite agree. This baby got hurt and my skin coming right off. Buoyancy was gone on the stern of the ship, and the bow lurched upward as the falling stern stayed in trim. As the Hindenburg sail crashed into the ground, a burst of flame came out of the nose, killing 9 of the best members at the bow. At this point, most of the fabric had burned away. At last, the airship went crashing to the ground bow first. The ship was completely destroyed. Italian Chef was certain that this was one of the most dramatic accidents of modern time, if indeed it was an accident. But how am I here to tell this tale, you may ask? How is it that I survived this tragedy unscathed? I was initially dazed by the realization that the ship was on fire. I stood near the officer's mess where I'd been putting away dishes moments before. A water tank above me burst open, and I was suddenly soaked to the skin. Not only did this snap me back to my senses, but it also put out the fire around me. I then made my way to a nearby hatch through which the kitchen had been provisioned before the flight. I dropped through it just as the forward part of the ship was briefly rebounding into the air. I made it clear of the wreck with little more than singed eyebrows, which I wear to this day, and soaking wet clothes. Though no one person can ever know, there are many theories catering to the disastrous events on this day in history, May 6, 1937. Whether the incendiary origin stems from the insoluble residue from the depolarizing element of a small dry battery, or perhaps it was a camera's flash bulb that sparked the explosion, or possibly even still a poorly timed cigarette break in the region of gas cell 4. No one knows, but we prefer to blame it on the Nazis. Yes, the National Socialists.
Not do this thing.
But confidentially, folks, it was the fault of the Americans. They wouldn't sell Germany the non-flammable fuel, and so they had flammable hydrogen, and it all blew up. Thank you very much.